Hi everyone, thank you for joining me today. My name is Noelani Joo and I'm a senior Girl Scout working on my Gold Award project. Today in this presentation, I will be focusing on the impact of Asian women in the world's history. Alright, to start off, I'd like to explain a little bit about why I decided to pursue this issue. First of all, majority of schools in the United States do not teach Asian American history, let alone Asian women history. The Asian community that represents nearly 50 ethnic groups and makes up the fastest growing racial or ethnic group among eligible United States voters are exceedingly ignored as a vital part of the American history curriculum in the United States. Due to this absence, I decided to conduct my Gold Award project addressing the absence of Asian women within the world's history. Now here's the game plan for our time together. First, we will be learning about 5 of some of the most influential Asian women in the world's history. After this, we'll do a short geography activity to summarize the things we learned. Our first influential woman comes from the Philippines. Many of you may recognize her, but she is Corazon Aquino, the first female president of the Philippines. Before her candidacy, Cory was married to Ninoy Aquino in 1945. At the time, Ninoy, her husband, ran for president against the current dictator of the Philippines, Ferdinand Marcos. However, he was arrested, exiled, and sadly assassinated. After his death, Cory decided to run herself for presidency. Gaining much support from the Filipino population, she was able to win the election and become the Philippines' first woman president. Through her time in office, she implemented laws and reforms throughout the country that focused on civil liberties as well as human rights. She also helped bring economic support to her debt-ridden country. For her service, she was awarded the Time magazine's Woman of the Year award for her extraordinary achievements. Our next woman is from somewhere known as the Aloha State. Does anyone have any idea what this state is? If you guessed Hawaii, that is absolutely correct. This is Kimi Kapa'u Wilson. She was a native Hawaiian who has made her mark in history as a women's rights advocate and promoter. She was born on March 4th in 1872. When she was a baby, she was adopted by a Hawaiian dancer who was an expert hula performer and also a friend of the current queen, Queen Kapiolani. With her mother's help, Kini was able to learn things such as the ukulele, singing, ballroom dance, and even the hula, later joining the queen's very own hula court. After pursuing a performance career, she married John Wilson, who would later become the mayor of Honolulu. Using her husband's platform, she was able to advance in women's rights. She is very famous for organizing what's considered to be the first meeting of the women's in territory in the 1920s. She was also appointed the state historian, as well as one of Hawaii's first presidential electors in the Electoral College. Next, we'll be traveling to 1974 in the height of World War II. I'd like to introduce you to Hazel Lee, the first Chinese woman to fly for the United States military. During the World War II, as the military continued to lose soldiers and civilians, women played an especially important role in the Army, some as clerks or some even making bombs and weapons. In 1974, the Women's Air Force Service Pilots, or the WASP program, trained women to fly non-combat missions. Assisting in transportation of planes and ammunition, Hazel was among the 1,000 women part of the program. She joined in 1943. However, when she joined the WASP program, she did face significant discrimination due to her gender and her race. However, she fought her way through it and was able to aid the Air Force tremendously with her flying. Today, she continues to inspire young female pilots all over the world. Our next influential woman comes from South Korea. Now, I'd like you to guess which color star on the map is South Korea. I'll give you a few seconds. If you guessed the purple star, that is absolutely correct. This is South Korea. This is Soyeon Yi. From a young age, she loved science. Studying and graduating from the Korea Advanced Institute of Science and Technology in 2002, she was selected in 2008 out of the 36,000 applicants to train for a flight in Russia and be sent to the International Space Center. Here are some pictures of her life in the International Space Center. One of the things that makes Soyeon truly remarkable is that she was the first person under the age of 30 to travel to space. She was also South Korea's very first astronaut. Later in her life, she spoke out about her experiences in the male-dominated field she worked in and inspires many young girls to follow in her steps. Now, Soyeon lives in Seattle with her family. Her legacy and servitude to the Korean people makes her truly remarkable. Our final influential woman is Sarojini Naudi. Sarojini was a political activist, feminist, poet, and the first Indian woman to be the part of the Indian National Congress. She was also appointed to be the Indian state governor. She was considered a child prodigy and poet when she was young, and she started college at the age of 12 and graduated by the age of 19. After some experience with the suffrage campaign in England, she was drawn to India's Congress movement, specifically to Gandhi's non-cooperation movement. In 1924, she traveled in Eastern Africa and South Africa with Gandhi, and the following year became the first Indian woman president of the National Congress. Her work was especially impactful during the Indian independence movement, which sought to separate India from British rule. On her travels, she lectured on issues applying to emancipation, empowerment, and social welfare for women. She passed away in 1949, but is still remembered today for her bravery and impact on the Indian independence movement against Britain. All right, now we will be playing a short geography game, just to review what we've learned. So here are the directions. I'm going to show a map of the world, and you are going to try and match the woman to her country, as well as what her impact on history was. All right, let's get started. Okay, our first woman is Hazel Lee. Now, who remembers where Hazel Lee was from? Is it in Korea, here in China, or in the United States? If you said China, you are absolutely correct. Hazel Lee is from China. Now, what was Hazel's impact? Did she A, become a well-known Chinese architect, B, a famous Chinese painter, or C, the first Chinese woman to fly with the United States military? If you guessed C, that is the correct answer. She was the first Chinese woman to fly with the United States military, breaking many boundaries applying to the gender and race rules in the Army. All right, our next woman is Sarojini Naudi. Who remembers where she's from? Is she from Brazil, India, or Australia? If you guessed India, you are correct. She is from India. Now, what was her impact? Was she a political activist and feminist? Was she the first Indian woman to be president of the Indian National Congress? Was she the first Indian woman to be appointed to the Indian state governor position? Or all of the above? If you selected all of the above, then you are correct. She did do all of these things. Next is Soyeon Yi. Now, is Soyeon from China, Japan, or Korea? If you guessed Korea, you are correct. Soyeon is from Korea. All right, now what was Soyeon's impact? Was she A, the first person under the age of 30 to travel to space, B, South Korea's very first astronaut, or C, both A and B? If you chose answer C, you are correct. She was both the first person under the age of 30 to travel to space and South Korea's very first astronaut. Next is Corazon Aquino. Now, is Corazon from Thailand, China, or the Philippines? If you picked the Philippines, you are absolutely correct. Corazon is from the Philippines. Now, what was Corazon's impact? Was she A, the first female president of the Philippines, B, a well-known Filipino singer and songwriter, or C, a world-class physics scientist and researcher? If you picked answer A, you are correct. She was the first female president of the Philippines. All right. Lastly is Kini Kapau Wilson. Now, is Kini from Brazil, Hawaii, or Australia? If you chose Hawaii, then you are correct. Kini is from Hawaii. Now, what was Kini's impact? Was she the Hawaiian state historian? Was she one of Hawaii's first presidential electors in the Electoral College? Or was she C, human rights advocate and or was she C, a women's rights advocate and promoter? If you chose all of the above, both A, B, and C, you are correct. All right. Congratulations. This concludes the end of my presentation, and I want to thank you for watching and continuing to educate yourself about the impact of Asian women on the world's history.